Yeah, it was an amazing year for us. My only fear for this year is did we get all the breaks last year, but we did start off pretty slowly. We opened up in the Dome and got our heads handed to us early, which is what we expected, which was fine. And then traveled the next day down in Jacksonville, and Coach Kerwig's team got us in triple overtime. So at 0-2, I was feeling like, my God, what are we going to do here? And then won a game against Albany, lost another one with Penn, and we really felt at the time we were better than we were performing. So got together with my staff. That was a Saturday game. We had a game the next day against Lehigh. Really changed things and simplified everything for the guys. I think we just overcoached, went too far too quickly, and the guys just, it was a big change for them. So they really bought into everything we had to say. They wanted to win. They worked very hard, and we kept it simple. And between Trevor at the defensive end and Matt Brown at the offensive end, we put together some simple schemes that really worked for the guys. And all of a sudden, went on that nine-game winning streak after our loss to Notre Dame. And lucky but good win at Stony Brook during the year, and that was kind of what catapulted us to the tournament. Looking back on the tournament game, it was a tough loss, but it was a great thing to be a part of, and I know our guys now know that they can do it as we transition into this coming year. I think this is what you need to do. I remember, back in my years at Princeton, we didn't get good until we played the better teams, and that's what you have to do. And so we're excited about the schedule. Pretty daunting going into the Dome for the opening game, but that sets the bar for you. That lets your guys know, what they need to do to be a contending team, a great team like Syracuse and some of the others. So it's going to be a tough schedule. I think we're a little more prepared. This year we're going to go down to North Carolina in early February for a scrimmage Carolina and Georgetown. So that'll get us ready a little bit. Last year we had no scrimmages because we had so many games. So I think we'll be more prepared. Will we be better? Will we do better? That remains to be seen. Again, we won 3 one-goal games last year, and I'm not in a lack of knowledge for how those games can go one way or the other. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's an interesting question because last fall we worked very hard. I felt like I had 44 freshmen, and this fall we have 14, so that helped. But what I think I made a mistake on is assuming that the other 75% remembered what we talked about a year ago. So we got through to about the first 2.5 of 5 weeks and realized that we needed to go back and remind some people how we got to where we were. And so we put the pedal down a little bit, started a little more conditioning, started getting a little tougher in practice, and then allowed the freshmen to see what it really took to be a Division I player, because we are going to count on 4 or 5 of those freshmen this year. So I think we kind of almost blew it in the fall, but I think we recovered quickly enough, had a couple of great scrimmages with some club teams out there, Colorado State, BYU, which were great for our young players to see what other college men look like. And then the team scrimmaged the professional, it was a group of Outlaws and other professional players the next week, and that was really a good event for us. So we're happy with our fall, but you're right. I mean, it does, the second time around, it's just easier. You just feel like you know everybody, you know where the locker room is, you know where the balls are, and what you need to do to get the job done. Yeah, it's kind of twofold. The first part is to remind them that even though we were 7-0 in the league last year, we were very, very fortunate to win a couple of those games, especially the Ohio State and Fairfield games, and that people kind of come hunting for us, and we're going back to Loyola this year at their place, and I know they feel like they got to get us back, and so it's going to be really interesting to understand that 7-0 was wonderful, but there's only one place to go from there, unless you go 7-0 again. And so we're going to work on that. On the other hand, where we're really confident is if we can get to that situation, that NCAA tournament situation again, we feel that the experience from last year playing that great Stony Brook team will give us a chance to understand that this is another game, it's another step in our progress for our season, but also our progress as a program, and we've got the tools to do that. We have a league tournament this year, which by winning the league last year, we get to host this year, so that'll, it's nice to have that at home, especially at 5,200 feet, and so that's always a good thing. And so we'll see what comes out of that as well. Yeah, well, it's funny because for 22 years at Princeton, I didn't want that foursome to ever be broken down. It was Hopkins, Virginia, Syracuse, and Princeton for all those years, and no one else was winning it. And then, but now that I'm someplace else, I really enjoyed watching Duke win last year because they kind of broke it a little bit, broke that dam, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, you're right. I do think the perennial big boys will always be the big boys because they have such advantages and their coaching staffs and players do such a good job. Kids, we're still waiting for that day for a young man to write us an email in 9th or 10th grade and say, I've always wanted to come to Denver, And when that happens, then I'll feel good. Now, some of them want to come to Denver, some of them do come to Denver, and we're proud of that. But I think we're getting there. But winning in the Final Four has a lot to do with depth, and you've got to get a lot of good players there and a lot of great players on your team. So I don't think you'll see all of a sudden those four or some of those other teams going by the wayside, but a confidence has been gained by everybody else by Duke winning that thing last year. And you're right. I mean, there are a dozen teams at least this year who, look at Notre Dame last year. They did they had a good, solid regular season, but then Coach Corrigan and his staff did a great job. They wrote a hot goalie, and their players' confidence rose, and all of a sudden they're within, an overtime of winning a national championship. So anybody can do it. And the teams that beat them during the regular season are saying, well, if I beat them, why can't I be there too? So it's an exciting time to be part of college lacrosse, and I hope it continues this way.